You're getting older, man, and there's nothing you can really do about it. You guys ever take a look at yourself in the morning, and you're looking in the mirror, and there's a grown-ass man that's looking at you back in the face. It's no longer a kid. It's no longer that kid from high school. It's a grown man, and you're remembering that now. The person that's getting up at 5 in the morning for work isn't your dad, it's you. I turned 22 3 days ago. My coworker said I was getting there. You're an old man. And you know, so far I've done pretty good in life. Have I really made anything for myself? No. No, that hasn't exactly happened. I make this comparison sometimes when I'm talking to people that are in less fortunate positions. For example, there was a guy that I went to high school with. At the time, he was in I believe it was a biology class of mine. And he's really jacked. He was popular with all the guys or whatever. He was a great guy. And, you know, I've seen him a couple times over the last few years, and I saw him again the other day at my local gym, my leisure center. And he was in rehab, and he's gained a whole bunch of weight, and he was into some hard drugs, and stuff just catches up on you like that, I guess. But really, the kind of point that I'm trying to make here is that everyone is at different points in their life, and lots of people are at less fortunate positions in their life as well. It's natural to want something more in life, and to have something that you want to accomplish or to work towards. One of the big problems that I think I've had myself is if there hasn't been direction, and I think this is something that can apply to a lot of guys, is if there isn't direction or a purpose in life, if there's no passion, people turn to pleasure. You know, that could take on itself in many different forms. The 7 sins, for example, you know, gluttony, sloth, lust, whatever, right? There are lots of different ways that these things can form. There's so much degeneracy in the world where it takes on so many infinite forms and it can grab you and suck you in so easily. You need to make sure that anytime you see something like that, you look it in the face and recognize it for what it is, so that way you stay in control of your own, I guess you could say, in control of yourself. Life, man, life sucks the life out of you. Work sucks the life out of you. Why am I making this? I watched a video of mine from 3 years ago. It was, I think it said 2 days after I graduated high school, so I would have been 18 at the time. This would have been 2022, July or June, one of the two. And I'm basically talking about the exact same things. One thing has changed and one thing hasn't. I haven't really gone anywhere different. I'm still in the same city. I'm in a different house now. Have I really made anything of myself? And I'm not talking about with this. I'm talking about, you know, building a life for myself and saving money and such. Has anything in that regard really changed? And I want to say no, it really hasn't. You get stuck in a rut with someone and that person drags you down for essentially 2.5 years. I mean, yeah, it'll do that to you. You gotta make sure that you're not putting yourself in that position like I did. But essentially just watching this one video that I had of mine, it wasn't professional, it didn't mean anything. It was this silly little video that I made talking about Gen Z, and I was essentially myself talking to Gen Z as a whole, giving them advice on what they should do based off of my personal experiences. You know, I used to be homeless, I was out of the house when I was 17, lots of bad stuff happened. But you learn from that, and you learn a lot of life experience, and I think at the time I knew that, but I think I've strayed away from my roots, so to speak. I watched the video, and I'm sitting there looking at this thing, and I'm like, holy shit, I was really onto something. It's like when I hear a psychology student and, you know, they're talking about, oh, I'm depressed, and I say, look at your notes, right? But really, in all seriousness, you know, I'm watching this thing and I'm like, wow, you know, what changed? I had so much hope in my voice. I had these dreams, you know. There were things that I wanted to do, and it's not that I don't want to do them anymore, but what circumstantially changed in my life to make me think and feel a different way? And, you know, the answer is lots of stuff, and growing up. Growing up is a really big one. But you only grow up because of certain things that happen, and the experiences and things that you decide to do with your life are completely dependent on what you make of them. You can be put in bad situations, but, you know, nothing's really going to change unless you yourself actually do something about it and want to change that. Who's this video for? Myself? Nobody? Everyone? All at the same time? I don't know, man. I went from making beats in my grandmother's basement to sitting in my house listening to Chevelle in an empty, quiet room. One thing that I mentioned in this video after I graduated was you don't want to go out and ruin your life. When people graduated high school, people went and they did parties, and they did drugs, and they drank alcohol, and got shit-faced drunk, and all of these things that are supposedly bad things. But I'm looking at this now, and all of these people are almost done university, and they have all of these other things that they're doing. So really, what was the problem with doing so in the moment if they are still now circumstantially ahead of me? Was I the problem, right? And that's the thing that goes through your mind, and you're trying to figure out what exactly went wrong. And not that everything's gone like horribly, horribly wrong. Like I'm not dying, right? But there's a difference between being alive and living. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people realize nowadays. As you grow older, there's so many more things for you to be worried about. And one thing I talked about in the video is you gotta learn how to do your taxes, and you gotta learn how to save and make money. And I think, it's fine to do in the moment, or, it's exciting to do the first time, but after you've done it a few times now, it starts to get to you. What do we have to be worried about nowadays? Potential worldwide war, economic collapse, societal breakdown, inflation, rising wages. Man, it doesn't get any fucking better, does it? It's just one thing after the other. You can be like me and choose to laugh and poke fun and really try and keep a lighthearted mind and distracting yourself with all of these things. But I think I'm starting to realize now that the problem with doing that is if you run away from your problems for so long, or you mask, or you just avoiding the problem in general, it's never going to be addressed, and maybe it won't affect you in that time. But as soon as that band-aid rips off, or as soon as that ice starts to crack, it's going to come all rushing back. I think that was one big thing that I had with working out. I still do that pretty frequently. That was one of my biggest goals, was going to the gym and getting ripped. And, that succeeded. But one of the problems I'm starting to realize now is one of the things that I had with going to the gym is that it was not just about getting physically stronger, it was also therapeutic for me in a sense. I could take out my raw emotions and put that into something that mattered and something that affected or changed my life. And, the positive was I got good looking doing it. Or maybe not, but that's subjective, right? But one of the big things was I think I became so focused on how I physically looked, I didn't actually really look inside. And so a lot of those problems got pushed away in the moment. And, as life's changing, and not that I'm not doing it seriously anymore, but my life has changed a lot this past 6 months. A lot for the better. But one thing I'm noticing is a lot of that older stuff that wasn't previously addressed is rushing back. I went from being 17 to 22 in a matter of minutes, right? And I think that's because there wasn't really, in some regards there was growth, in some regards there isn't, right? So instead of the actual growth being a slow, gradual process, in some regards it just goes from one to the next. So all of a sudden you're 17 and then boom, you're like Arthur Morgan, you're an old man.
You ugly bastard. You're getting old and kinda sad.
What happened, right? One big problem that I have myself is that I know what it is I have to do, but it's scary. And you run away from those problems, and then they get pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and all of a sudden it's too late. I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it, kind of thing, right? One thing I used to always say to myself was, if you really truly want something, and you're not putting in the work to accomplish that, do you even really want it to begin with? And the answer is no. And I used to say it was, that was true, because I wanted to do, and I was doing everything that I wanted, and that stopped for various reasons, but that's still my fault for not continuing with that, right? It doesn't matter what you want to do in life. If you want to be a good swimmer, if you want to be an engineer, a mechanic, you want to fly planes, you want to be in the military, you want to be a firefighter. These are all, lots of these things are things that kids want to do when they're, a kid. Firefighters, police chiefs, stuff like that. If you want to be an artist, if you want to be a musician, if you want to be yourself in a different place. And I think that's the reason why I'm making this video, is because a lot of people don't have that person to say that to them. And that's why I'm doing it, because I don't have that either, right? I can hear myself in my ears recording this as I'm saying it. I'm listening. I'm speaking it into existence. What is life, man? Life's interesting, that's for sure. Growing up. I'm a grown man. Why am I talking about growing up, right? Still have some work to do, I think. Anyone else that's watching this here, really, really focus on yourself and what you really need. I think my biggest issue that I always had was there was too many things that I wanted. Too many things that I wanted to do. Too many things that I did do. In that sense, being too many hobbies, You can't be, and I'm not saying this to be like, you can't do this, but in reality, at least for myself, what's realistic for me, what I'm possibly trying to do, even when I'm putting in those extra hours, when I'm getting up early, you can't become a master guitarist, you can't be a master linguist, you can't be a master builder and make videos and do all of this stuff at once. There are things that you need to pick and choose. And if you spread yourself too thin, For a lot of people, that's just not going to be possible. If you're spread too thin, you can't cover the grounds of what you actually need and what you actually want. If you put too little effort into everything, you fail at everything. And that's one thing that's become apparent. That's one thing that I'm taking from this. You can say you're trying, or oh yeah, I'm trying. It doesn't mean anything. Words are absolutely nothing. They don't mean a single thing in society. Actions, taking action, doing something, having that memory of something that was done or accomplished, that is what matters. You need to figure out what it is you really want, pick and choose, and make a plan and make it happen. Because if you have no direction, you fall for cheap fast food and unlike-minded people. That's a big one. Don't surround yourself with people that you can't put 100% of your faith and trust in. If there's even a little bit there, you have a conversation with that person in the beginning, because otherwise, problems may come up later. Life without direction, life without purpose is just instinct, and instinct is often degenerate, is what it is. It takes away from your life. It doesn't build anything withstanding. It doesn't build anything worthwhile. Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Are you going to build a bunch of shitty little houses, or are you going to build a big castle? It's a shitty analogy, but I had the Rome bit in there. Figure out what it is you want, what you can do, and do it. Don't get so scared about what it is you're trying to do and figure out. Don't get scared in the decision-making, the process. Life's difficult. Life's complicated. Lots of stuff goes on in life. You just gotta pick and choose your battles, I think. That's enough. See ya.